Okay, I hope. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. Can you start?
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's health seminar. As usual, being a Sunday, we meet and we talk about matters of health, how we can live a longer, healthier life. And today we are especially privileged to have a great speaker. She's a medical doctor all the way from South Africa. She's going to tell us her story. And she's going to share with us about gut health, your digestive, how to manage your digestive system, and how to live a healthier life as a result. So without further ado, I want to invite Dr. Eseza Nambasi to take it away. Karibu Daktari.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Fred. Good afternoon, everybody. I don't know whether it's evening in your place. We are an hour behind you. My name is Eseza Nambasi. I live in Durban, South Africa, and I am very passionate about what we do in this family. I haven't always been in the family. I started this wonderful opportunity with the Neolife family some years ago. And it just made so much sense to me that the very first day that I saw it, I jumped right in and I have never looked back. I am married to Eddie, Dr. Edward Nambasi. We are the proud parents of 3 adult children now. And we have a son-in-law and we have a couple of grandchildren, delightful little grandchildren that we are looking forward to seeing in a few short days. They happen to live in another city. They live in Cape Town. Okay, so Fred has asked me to talk about the gut. And when he asked me what I should call this talk, I said, let's call it Start with the Gut. And that's because over 70%, between 70 and 90% of your entire immune system resides in the gut. I hope yeah. Isn't that interesting? And if you can connect the fact that our health is inextricably linked to the strength of our immune system, and we have 70 to 90% of the entire immune system residing in the gut, that makes the gut very important. So now I just want to point out that your body is the home in which you live. Your home needs, at the very least, periodic attention. Every function and activity of your system, day and night, be it physical, mental, and spiritual, is dependent on the attention you give it. So that's why we are discussing gut health today, given the importance of the gut. So I just want to point out something that Hippocrates said. He was born in ancient Greece a long time ago. And he said a few important pointers, but I think that they should be revived big time, okay? Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. He also said, or is purported to have said, walking is man's best friend. Then he said, it is far more important to know what person the disease has than what disease the person has. Then, before you heal someone, ask him if he or she is willing to give up the things that make him sick. And then the very famous saying that I love, all disease begins in the gut. And that's why it is important to really be so aware, because the digestive system is the seat of a lot of diseases. It is the reason many doctors are in business, if I may put it that way. I am trained as a medical doctor, so I can say a few naughty things. And then a lot of people self-medicate because of trouble that they're feeling in their gut. Okay, the gut is very, very long. It starts at the mouth, ends at the anus. It is several meters long. Opened out, it can stretch to become the size of perhaps a tennis court or half a football pitch. It's very large, it's vast, and it just winds its way through our body from the mouth to the anus. But in it also, we have to remember that we have a large colony of other organisms, collectively known as the gut microbiome. So let us look at a label that has been given to a lot of disease conditions. It's called irritable bowel syndrome. I'm sure many of you have wondered, oh my gosh, what is that? So the question is, what could be the causes of this condition? Let us look at a little section of the gut. And I just want to point out that between the bloodstream and the inside of the gut, inside of that tube, which by the way, if you think carefully about it, it actually is outside the body. It is a tube that is not in our body as such, because it can be pulled right out and it will be outside the body. But between the outside of the body and the bloodstream that keeps us alive is one layer thick of cells, one cell layer, okay? And now it is incumbent upon us to keep that cell layer very healthy. That is what forms a healthy gut. So the intestinal mucosa, the healthy gut can become a leaky gut if we are busy putting in all sorts of things, such as undigested food, such as medications, antibiotics, and all sorts of things that can cause challenges, such as antacids, okay, preservatives, and other chemicals. And all that can cause a healthy gut to become a leaky gut. Stress per se can be a cause of major problems, okay? And toxins, as I've mentioned. So that can all wind up in the bloodstream and cause disease. So I just want you to appreciate the importance of a healthy gut, or alternatively, to see how disease comes to be. So the important question to ask yourself is, what's leaking into my bloodstream, causing all sorts of symptoms? Irritable bowel syndrome and inflammatory bowel disease are descriptions of increased gut leakiness or permeability due to holes in the gut and disrupted gut microbiome. Remember, I mentioned there's a huge colony of various organisms. Some of them are microorganisms, such as bacteria, viruses. Others are big organisms, macroorganisms, such as worms, okay? So with that scenario set, I just want to point out this little book that I actually have on my shelf. I discovered that it has amazing pieces of information. It's not a new book, but I just want to read to you what's at the back of it. It says about colon health. Colon health, this book, will take this forgotten part of your body and focus your full attention on it, and you will never again take it for granted. This little book shows how every organ, gland, and cell in the body is affected by the condition of the large intestine called the colon. It's written by, as you can see over there, Dr. Norman Walker. And as I say, it's not a new book. It was written several years ago, over 30 years ago. So now the causes of that leakiness, I've mentioned it already, but toxins, infections, infestations, allergens, such as gluten. Gluten is a protein found in grain, and wheat gluten is the most notorious for causing challenges to the gut. Things like dairy for some people, eggs, nuts. So there's a wide spectrum of sensitivity in different individuals. The key here is to know whether you might be affected by any of these sensitivities and allergies. And then poor diet and stress. Everybody talks about stress. It comes in all forms and guises. Now let us, as we are discussing this, consider the important role of the liver. It's so important to keep the liver healthy, because the liver, as an appendage to the gut, by the way, just like the pancreas is, the gallbladder, these organs, but particularly the liver, is the key detox organ in the body. Hormones are metabolized and eliminated by the liver. That is so important to know. Elimination is very important to ensure hormones do not recycle. And now, we always talk about xenoestrogens. If you don't know what they are, we might need another session to discuss them fully. But the role of xenoestrogens, those are out of the body unnatural estrogen-like substances, must always be put on your list of reasons for detoxing. Okay? So the role of xenoestrogens must always be put on your list of reasons for detoxing. And we're going to talk about the importance of detoxing. So yes, I just throw in these pictures to remind us that exercise is important. But let's talk about elimination. Elimination of waste products is one of the most vital functions of a living organism. Cells live longer without nutrients than they can live in accumulated waste products. Isn't that amazing? Our health is dependent not only upon intake of proper nutrients, but also the efficient elimination of waste. Problems with elimination cause a degree of and discomfort unmatched by virtually anything else. And then the tragedy is that most of this agony is avoidable with a few simple changes in diet or a simple supplement program, and also a few simple changes in lifestyle. It is so important to remember that. Right, so let's talk about constipation. That is infrequent elimination. Sorry, I'm just trying to move something out of the way. It's infrequent elimination and straining at the stool. This sets the stage for other health problems as well, such as varicose veins, hiatus hernia, diverticulosis leading to diverticulitis, that is inflammation of the insides of the gut, unhealthy weight gain, which may lead to other diseases and disorders. And the most common causes in modern diet and lifestyle are lack of sufficient fiber and lack of exercise. So we are tying all these things together, and ultimately we'll see that our responsibility to ourselves is huge. This is a very important function in all living organisms. Cells live longer without nourishment than they can live in accumulated waste. And our health is dependent not only upon intake of proper nutrients, but also the efficient elimination of waste. Okay, and then problems with elimination cause a lot of suffering and discomfort. And the tragedy is that most of this agony can be avoided by just a few simple steps, a few simple changes to your lifestyle. Constipation, you can see this slide now.
Yes.
Right. Constipation sets the stage for other health problems, and that is the infrequent elimination of stool, such as those ones that I've talked about: varicose veins, hiatus hernia, diverticulosis, and unhealthy weight gain. Now, the most common causes in modern diet and lifestyle are the lack of fiber and lack of exercise, among other things. But yes, those two are so important, and those are the things that modern lifestyle has successfully made sure that we don't get enough of. So we get people who look like that, where there's accumulation of a lot of abdominal fat, called visceral fat, and subcutaneous fat. And the significance of this is that it is an indicator of the metabolic syndrome, which entails pre-diabetes and associated excess insulin before frank diabetes develops, which happens a few years later. And also high blood pressure, okay? Who would have thought that all those actually link right back to the gut? Well, we are learning. And high blood pressure could be from chronic inflammation due to high insulin levels. And then dangerously high levels of blood fats. We call that dyslipidemia, and that can be very damaging to the kidneys and the liver. And then weight gain. That can cause all sorts of issues. So now, I just needed to say that we don't need to look very far. We don't need to go to specialist doctors and other doctors. As I like to say, we don't need to outsource our health. We can take it into our own hands and make use of what our Creator has given us already. So we are abundantly blessed with sunshine, fresh air. We have the choice to rest and get adequate sleep. Okay? We need to make sure that we drink good quality water and eat good quality food. And that food should be sufficient to supply us with fiber. And that's what I want to discuss. Okay, so fiber is important because the muscles of the intestine and the colon require bulk to act upon. And that is important to establish normal elimination. However, modern diets supply less than 10 grams of fiber per day. Why? Because of food processing. We need to eat at least 20 to 35 grams of fiber. In fact, in many traditional diets, there's even much more than that because we're eating a lot of bulk. Bacteria that live in our gut and form the gut microbiome are very important because they help to digest that fiber. They also help to create nutrients, and they the lack of proper bacteria in the gut is a factor that causes constipation. Basically, because 2/3 of stool volume is fiber and the other third is microorganisms, in which are bacteria. And those break down the fiber to form butyrate, which is the primary nourishment for cells that line the colon. And we've already pointed out that there is one layer thick, and those need that specific nutrient. So we are now seeing that it is so important to be mindful of all these things that we are talking about. Any factors that disrupt the gut microbiome cause malnutrition of the cells and lead to reduced health because, and what did we start with? Over 75% of the immune system resides in the gut. And to be healthy, you need a strong immune system. So I hope this actually is closing the loop on a lot of questions that are often asked. For example, the use of antibiotics when they're not required, okay? That is something that I'm very, very passionate about. Now, let us just go to a slightly different topic, but all tying up, and that is coordinated activity in the gut. All right, so we all might know that hydrochloric acid is released by the parietal cells in the stomach lining, when food is either anticipated or even before you actually eat, right? Either it is received or anticipated, hydrochloric acid is released. This signals the initiation of peristalsis, that is that worm-like motion of the digestive tract. Hydrochloric acid also triggers normal secretions of the pancreas, such as insulin, and various digestive enzymes, such as lipases and proteases. Those are released by the pancreas to help break down fat and to help break down protein. And it also triggers the gallbladder to release bile. So there has to be that coordinated activity in the gut. If that isn't happening, then there is all sorts of problems with our health that will ensue. Now let's ask ourselves, what happens if there is insufficient hydrochloric acid? As can happen with the very bad habit of medicating with antacids. That has become such a bad habit. I'm sorry if any of you is doing that. Yes, I've called it a bad habit, okay? So what happens is constipation. And low secretion of hydrochloric acid, as I've said, it can be from antacid use, or it can even be from malnutrition. In other words, nutrition deficiencies, because it is a very highly energy activity to produce that hydrochloric acid. It needs a lot of energy, and a lot of the right nutrients have to be on board. And the other reason could be the aging process. Some of us whose age is moving on, and that is all of us. Yes, the aging process can be one of the reasons that there's low secretion of hydrochloric acid. Also, malfunctioning of the pancreas and the gallbladder, as I pointed out earlier, will happen if hydrochloric acid secretion is low or inadequate. So, constipation due to nutrient deficiencies. Now we can be a bit more specific. Deficiency of pantothenic acid, also known as vitamin B5, and magnesium deficiency can be quite important in being the reason for constipation. So we need important vitamins and minerals necessary for the production of energy in the muscles of the gut. And I want to stress that word muscles, because whenever we think of exercise, we think of just the skeletal muscles. But do you know your gut has muscles that need to be exercised? That's why I'm so stressing fiber, and now I'm stressing the correct nutrients that are required to ensure energy production. Also remember that magnesium and vitamin C are natural laxatives. So getting it from food and, if necessary, supplementing. Then cells lining the gut need to be able to allow nutrients in and waste out so that they can do the very important work of absorbing nutrients to maintain the health of the entire body. Now, we all know that, yes, we need to ensure that that activity happens, and that's where lipids and sterols, omega-3 and antioxidants are important and absolutely required for cellular health. So let us just carry on. I hope everything is running smoothly. I would like now to talk about dehydration that causes constipation. Failure to hydrate adequately can result in fiber drying out, causing further constipation. Now, when someone becomes super enthusiastic, you've just heard that you need fiber, and so you go to town to increase your fiber, but that person forgets to keep up with adequate hydration with water. And mind you, I'm talking water and not beverages that are caffeinated or sweetened and processed. Then a spiral of illness is set up, because there's a lot of dehydration that happens with those beverages. So please try and spread fiber and water throughout your day. That is a tip for good health. So in summary, what I have said is that add fiber to your diet, yes. Eat good food. Eat as much of those lovely fruits and vegetables as you can. Always consider the possibility of low stomach acid as a cause of constipation, all right? And be advised that by drinking adequate water, you're actually giving one of the key ingredients for that stomach lining, the parietal cells, to be able to make hydrochloric acid. I just thought I would throw that in, but yes, drink adequate amount of water, and then from time to time, use an acidophilus product periodically to replenish healthy gut bacteria, and we'll go into that. And then supplements are necessary to fill dietary gaps so that necessary nutrients are always available for providing energy to muscles of the gut. So if you go away with one thing, it is to be reminded that our gut needs to be exercised and needs to be rehydrated and needs to be fed and needs to be kept as pristine as possible so that those cells work well. So let us get ready. I hope all of you are ready on your marks to talk supplements. And the question many people ask, do we really need to supplement vitamins? I eat enough. I eat well, they will tell you, okay? So vitamin B complex is very, very important. Deficiency disorders are very many and often not recognized until too late. That is a sad thing, especially in people with bad dietary habits. and lifestyle habits like excessive alcohol intake. The main role is to turn food into energy. That is very important for proper functioning of all our cells. And then vitamins are critical for our health. We must be able to trust the source. And I want to emphasize that we really have to trust the source. And for the guests on the call, we are about to show you a brand of vitamins by the Neolife company that we all belong to as distributors, which are whole food, sourced from human food, and they are proven to do what they say they do. Okay, so I want to now talk about the importance of supplementing minerals. And again, we ask ourselves, must I? Do I really have to? Okay, chromium is very important because it enhances insulin signaling, increasing insulin sensitivity. And this will affect carbohydrate, protein, and fat metabolism. And all those are important for producing energy so that we can function properly. And then calcium, magnesium, potassium, zinc, all these are very important to supply enzymes and other bodily functions. And we've already talked about the importance of those things, the enzymes being available for digestion. And then here's a very good reason why. Due to modern food growing and processing, we are all, bar none, all of us are deficient in minerals, and therefore we need to supplement. So guests, I hope you were invited to have a look at some good news, because now the good news begins. I'll put the bad news behind us. And I just want to introduce you to these amazing products. And our foundational product that we will always talk about first is called TreeNN. With the right nutrition, your cells can perform their very best for your well-being and vitality, including those cells that line the gut. They need TreeNN, and a lot of people who first use TreeNN will come to you and say, oh my goodness, I've had a very embarrassing problem. I've been constipated. And now that seems to be going away. And then omega-3s are very, very important. The one in this company is unique in that it supplies us with all 8 omega-3 molecules that are involved in human nutrition. And this one is 100% pure because Neolife has a policy, and that is 0 tolerance for toxins. And I'm telling you this because a lot of people will say, why should I buy your omega when I can get a cheaper one from the shop? Well, cheap is not always the best. That's just something to remember. And then I just want to bring to your attention what we have as the core nutrition. It's a concept, again, with our company. We have a set of products that we call core nutrition. And they have amino acids, or the building blocks of protein. And they also give us these 4 things in a package together. We call that package Pro Vitality, Pro Life. And in there, we have the foundational products, the TreeNN oil concentrates, grain oil concentrates. We have omega-3. We have carotenoid complex. And you might ask, but do I need that? Yeah, we've talked about fruits and vegetables. Good to get the fiber, the whole fruit and everything. But this one has been given in such a way that you get a concentration so that you not only enhance your immune system by 37% in a short time, In other words, helping that gut, which has a lot of immune cells, and we've said over 70% of the immune system. But you also need these antioxidants to protect these oils. You need them protected. And then we've talked about vitamins and minerals. We have a product called Multi, which gives us vitamins and minerals. So this is very comprehensive and very important as well. And I've talked about the importance of the protein building blocks, remembering that your gut is a muscle, it's a muscular organ, and it needs to be maintained. And one of the things that happens with the aging process is that we lose muscle. If we are not maintaining it, we lose it. And I just wanted to point out these two products, the vitamin B containing products. We have lipotropic adjunct and vitamin B complex. Very, very good products. This one is sustained release, the vitamin B complex, sustained release, in that it is slowly released. Vitamin B and vitamin C are water-soluble vitamins, so the sustained release technology helps us to get a supply over an extended period, 6 to 8 hours. Then we've talked about fiber, the importance of fiber. We in Neolife have two forms, all natural fiber and fiber tablets. Very important to close that gap in the deficiency. And then for the health of the gut, I have spent some time talking about constipation. And here you have some natural laxatives. Among them is real food. I want to keep emphasizing that. But vitamin C is a natural laxative. Magnesium is a natural laxative. And we have a combination of calcium and magnesium called CalMag, not only for stronger bones, that too, but also as a natural laxative. Okay, so let's just move on. Aloe vera, very, very, very important. It helps the gut in that it soothes those reasons for heartburn and digestive distress. It also helps the gut to produce more mucus so that constipation is dealt with. And now I want to bring in other products that many of you might not be using regularly, but to explain that a product like Cruciferous Plus is important to ensure that your body, your body detoxes estrogen properly. It's important for detoxification and estrogen metabolism. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, then we get problems that can ultimately lead to the metabolic syndrome that we have discussed. Okay, can you see this slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so let's just touch on the detox program. From time to time, that was one of my opening slides. We have to look after our body. Just like you sweep your house regularly, you need to clean your body out from time to time. And there are various methods of detoxing. I've got a friend of mine, I don't know whether she's on this call, but she does colon irrigations. Those are mentioned in this little book that I showed you. I put a picture up of this little book called Colon Health. Because as we grow, and as perhaps we have had occasion to not hydrate adequately, and therefore the fiber has dried out and caked and coated the inside of the colon, then we can develop all sorts of problems. So that's another thing that one can do. Otherwise known as an enema, but many people don't particularly like it. So a regular detox, however you choose to do it, you can do many combinations. We have this program which has beta gut, fiber, stage 6, and garlic. And we add multi-mineral because the chelation process by beta gut might chelate out more minerals than you want, and so you need to replenish them. Okay, that's the basis of that one. Garlic is also fantastic as a dewormer. We call it a vermifuge. It can chase away worms quite effectively. We used to have a very comprehensive detox program. We are still hoping that Acidophilus plus will come back onto the market here in Africa. It was withdrawn recently, but let us continue to hope and pray that it comes back. But you can make your own Acidophilus containing dish, if I can call it that. This I do regularly. In fact, I always make sure that I have what we call sauerkraut. It is cabbage and good quality salt, not the inorganic salt, but the Himalayan salt or sea salt that you can get. So I make sauerkraut. I've actually just made a new batch, and that's how now I was always making it, but now that Acidophilus has been withdrawn, this is even more important in my day-to-day life. Finally, as we draw to a close, I want to point out that please never, never forget the impact of the environment on our gut health. So if you're not using gut-friendly, 100% biodegradable, very earth-friendly and very effective and economical detergents, cleaning products in your home, perhaps that's the first place you should consider, because others have, they even boast in their advertisements that they have antibiotic activity. And from all that I have said, you do not want to kill your gut microbiome. You really do not want to do that. So consider changing that. And in that way, may I add that once you're using these very highly economical products, you'll be able to afford to add to your nutrition supplements products that you might not be using already yet, such as cruciferous that I pointed out. Okay, such as beta gut. Yeah. Okay, so please remember, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being an awesome audience. A commonly overlooked cause of constipation in today's world of abundant, convenient, and highly processed foods is malnutrition. So we need to address nutrition deficiencies. We also need to address toxins. We also need to address lifestyle issues such as how much we exercise or not. So I just want to tell the guests on the call that come to this family. We are always waiting to welcome you. You can discover a lot of possibilities because there is a business that you can run, you can own, and always remember, this particular edition has been about the health of your colon, and I said, start with the gut. Look after your gut. It is the home of your immune system. Thank you so much. I will hand over to Fred.
Thank you so much. That was quite informative and very powerful. I see somebody asking what can we use instead of Acidophilus plus. In Kenya, we've never had Acidophilus. So which product comes close to that? Well,
I actually put it on as one of the products that I make in my kitchen. But then there are others, such as yogurt, fermented foods, various fermented foods that are available traditionally or you can purchase. I make sauerkraut. I like it because it is very easy out of cabbage that is fermented with salt, and it is very effective. I have found that to work for me. Okay.
Okay, so I think that sounds very easy to do. You take Himalayan salt and some cabbage, and you ferment it.
Yes.
In your fridge for how many days?
Not in your fridge. You put it on the table in your kitchen.
Okay. Okay.
This batch that I've just made, I made it 2 nights ago. It's almost ready. So usually 3 or 4 days is good enough. And I have these special, I'm sure you have them in Kenya, glass jars that whose lid sits on the jar properly, but it can also be allowed to pop up because a lot of gas, as the bacteria are fermenting the cabbage, a lot of gas is produced. So what I do, I use that jar and then I put a jug or a dish or something plastic over the top of the lid so that when it pops up, it doesn't fly right off. I've had occasion to have something fly off before. I was doing it and I had forgotten to cover it and it flew right off and broke the lid. So yeah, wow. It's a good thing. It's called sauerkraut. The Germans make it. It helps them with their digestion. So sauerkraut is actually sour cabbage, yeah, in German.
Okay. And then somebody is asking about acid reflux, what we can give for acid reflux.
Okay. Acid reflux is as a result of a weak sphincter. You know, there's the esophageal sphincter at the bottom of the esophagus. And so it's allowing splashing up of acid. Okay? It depends on the cause. It depends on whether it is something that can be surgically corrected or whether the person is overweight, okay? The person doesn't do overall exercise and therefore, I've been mentioning it, we have muscle in our digestive system and all the muscles need to be kept in tip-top condition. So if that sphincter at the end of the esophagus is weak, perhaps because there is not enough muscle building material called amino acids. You know, a lot of people will resist taking the shake. And it's something that I've been talking about for all the years that I've been in the business, that next to Tree and I recommend the shake. I really do. It is so important. So yeah, it could be age-related because as we age, that tends to happen. It could be increased intra-abdominal pressure from a pregnancy or whatever else is causing too much pressure in the abdomen. Maybe the person is a woman and has some fibroids and they're huge and they're leading to that. But when all is said and done, if you can just keep a few fundamentals in check all the time. Am I exercising? Am I overweight? Am I getting my nutrients? Is what I'm throwing in my mouth and therefore my stomach full of things that are stopping adequate acid production? Am I using too much antacids? You know, it's a catch-22. It's actually a vicious cycle. People go onto antacids hoping to bring relief. They stop the acid production. And that cascade that I pointed out, there's no insulin that is released, there's no bile that is produced, there are no enzymes that are produced. And ultimately, the malnutrition that develops from all that will be the problem. Okay, so we need to, how can I put it? We need to get out of this quick fix mentality of wanting to sort something out quickly and run the risk of developing a bigger problem, such as what we are talking about now, acid reflux. But first of all, let them get checked out and see what is actually causing it. Because if it is something that actually needs to be corrected, then they'll suggest as much. Otherwise, just propping up pillows, eating early rather than eating too late, so that by the time you go to bed, your stomach has emptied. And that's, I think, an East African thing, isn't it? Where we have huge meals at 10 p.m. And then after that, we go and sleep. Yeah, of course, you'll develop acid reflux. So, yeah, a mouthful of an answer, but yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Somebody's asking, how do you eat the sauerkraut once it's fermented? What do you do with it? You eat it, or what do you do?
Yeah, I eat it. Sometimes.
Or you don't cook it any further. Once it's
No,
fermented,
it's
after
fermented
3-4.
I eat it in my salad. I love
Okay.
it. This is one of my favorite dishes. When you visit,
Fantastic.
I'll turn you into sauerkraut eaters. I love sauerkraut, sweet potato, and avocado. Oh, it's one of my
Fantastic.
favorites.
I think several people on the chat are saying they're going to start immediately, because those are foods which are freely available around here. So I did a bit of that in college. I didn't know it was that important. It is something that definitely I want to embark on as well.
Okay. What though you need to know is that you need quite a lot of salt. Don't put a little bit, because it won't ferment and it will rot instead. But yeah, enough to preserve.
It's a Himalayan sauce. Himalayan sauce. Himalayan salt, sorry. The Himalayan salt, not the other salt that we are used to.
Yeah, Himalayan salt.
Fantastic, fantastic.
All right, I think that would be that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Cool.
So I think we can come to an end of it.